Hello everybody, this is another Zerg Player's Opinions, but today it's going to be a little bit different than the normal ones. As you may know, well, one of my personal favorite teams, but the team leader for Axiom Esports has unfortunately stepped down due to a multitude of things. It was kind of more of a camel's back situation, where it's just a lot of things that led up, and eventually people can say enough. So because of that, the main team sponsor, which would be Total Biscuit, has stepped in to take over. This followed very interesting, actually, two blog posts. The first one explaining it's the fans of Axiom Esports why they weren't going to be in a tournament and why they had to drop out. The second one being the actual resignation. Both of them are on Team Liquid. I would not suggest looking at the comments because there's a lot of shit going on. So that's about as blunt as I could get. So essentially what happened is that in terms of this situation, there was pretty much a tournament being put on by Taka TV, which was I honestly can't even say, but it required airline flights for pretty much all the teams involved. It required hotel rooms. It required, it had this offline portion. So Axiom, as well as other teams, entered into the tournament thinking, okay, it's just a complete online tournament. Everyone gets to participate. No money is involved, and there's only money to gain and only notoriety to get, publicity for being part of the tournament. Unfortunately, it was not completely made clear to at least Axiom Esports that there was going to be an offline tournament until after they had taken their spot, they had qualified, and they had pretty much taken the chance from other teams. And that isn't that they were mean or anything, it was just that situation was they qualified. So what happened was Genna eventually found out that there was an offline portion, started asking about, now this isn't specifically correct, but this is what I've gathered of the summary. Genna started asking about, okay, are you guys funding it? And he's like, well, we have this deal, we're going to give you this much, but it's not going to be nearly enough, and and you're going to have to deal with it. And we're sorry, but yeah, that's how much you're going to have to pay. Scrambling around enough, considering the fact that Axiom Esports, like other teams, operates at a loss and doesn't have exactly money to throw around. Whereas if you've actually seen recently, Axiom Esports actually potentially lost $6,000 just from an airline screw-up. Genna was really running around trying to figure it out and couldn't get any money. Taka TV, Acer, because it was an Acer tournament, was like, no, we are not going to give any more money. This is the amount of money that we're giving you. Apparently, Team Liquid was also looking for more money as well in a interestingly similar situation, and another team actually had to pull a fundraiser out of their butt in order to get their team members to this tournament. The unfortunate situation was the team had to drop out, had to forfeit because they could not simply afford the amount of money that to bring their players, which is completely understandable given the fact that money's limited. Money is limited in anything, and in business, these tournaments are investments, but you have to choose your investments very carefully. So she posted this on a blog on the Team Liquid forum, and she did actually post direct proof. She posted copy-pasted emails to show, okay, this is what happens, this is what went on. And it wasn't to do anything. She actually put Acer and Taka TV, Taka, as a pretty good light, didn't diss her or she didn't diss them or anything, or didn't blame them. She outright said, yes, there was miscommunication, and you know what, if this was the scenario, maybe we wouldn't have joined, but we also took away a spot. She took a lot of onus. But, so the intention of that blog was to talk about and just explain to the fans why they weren't. So that's 5 minutes. This is 5 minutes into the video, and we've covered what happened prior. So, what happened apparently after was TV, or Take, whatever the frig his name is, got peeved off because of the fact that private, which in this day and age is like kind of a weird, but messages were sent out, revealed in public by Genna and Bain. And he threatened, but I don't know how serious that was, but threatened legal action, saying that he was going to, I hope, blah, 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 legal crap, which is not healthy, especially because of the fact that it's a tournament organizer yelling and threatening legal action against a team owner who can go to other tournaments, and it's like, okay, well, you've just burned a couple of bridges. So, while this was also going on for the past year, Jenna's also been the one that's been organizing Shoutcraft America. She's been the one that's been dealing directly with the team in the capacity of a team owner and a manager, having to deal with everything, including if shit hits the fan, which apparently it has. She's had to be a mother to her child, she's had to be a wife to her husband, and the team's also in a completely different time zone, which means that you have to be there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because of the time difference. As well as other things that would just, to any normal person, would be it would be like multiple jobs. Job of raising your kid, job of just still paying attention to your husband, but also raising a team, organizing tournaments, and other multiple things. But she also apparently has mental health issues via clinical depression, which in this scenario, in the amount of work that she has to deal with, it makes perfect sense why she would just be overwhelmed eventually at some point. Because you know what? Any person would be overwhelmed eventually. So, she had posted a secondary blog like the next day or within hours or something. It was a very short time, announcing her resignation from Team Axiom and retiring altogether. So, because of that, Total Biscuit is taking over management of the team. They have another person that has been with the team for quite a bit of a time that is co-manager now. So there's that, and hopefully it won't impact Total Biscuit too much now that he has a second manager to be able to deal with the stuff during Korean time. But it comes down to the fact that there was apparently the majority of tournaments with StarCraft 2 just outright pay. Just outright pay their teammates, the participants, hotel fees, planes, trains, automobiles, to get them there. And so, when you have to spend money to get people into tournaments, at least hotel rooms, I've never heard of them not paying. Flights are a different issue, of course, because you gotta get there, and it varies depending on where the starting point is, but this was an absolute this was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna give you 1,500, and that's not gonna cover nearly anything. No, I don't even think it was 1,500, it was, okay, you're gonna have to dish out like 2,000, or even more. Either way, it was the tournament was not going to pay enough, and the pocketbooks were low, and the team was already in the tournament, so of course there was going to need to be an explanation. So Genna, in her capacity as a team manager and as a person of the community, simply just came out transparency and just said this. And Take, which, if you look at it at a certain angle, can be like, oh yeah, he ran it really badly. He was not running it as well as other tournaments. He disorganized. Got offended, wanted to save face, and instead of owning up to like, yeah, there's not a lot of money, there's not a lot of tournament stuff, we're trying the best we can, we'll do better next time, tried to save face and said, you're threatening legal action because you're related to private shit. Which doesn't help anybody, and unfortunately is the final straw. That has unfortunately caused a wonderful manager to retire. Now, do I think it honestly she should take a break? You know what? Probably. if she's dealing with clinical depression, and dealing with having a home, and dealing with all these other things, then I think that she should, take a break, at least, if not do what she's doing, and just work on herself, and work on being the best she can for her child and for her husband, and then maybe come back. Maybe not in the same structure as a team owner, because that is extremely stressful. So that's pretty much what happened. In short, they had to drop out. She was transparent. People didn't like it. People threatened legal action. She was like, you know what, I'm done. And that's all there is. And Total Biscuit definitely isn't near perfect. He does say a lot of he does say inappropriate stuff. He is very off the cuff, but he's straight talking. The one thing that people know about Total Biscuit is that he's just honest. He's honest and truthful, but he's not always the nicest. But you know what? That's his personality. That's never gonna change. I wish the best to Total Biscuit, and I just wanted to say that all your fans really appreciate what you've done. Both you and Genna, and all your fans really appreciate your team and the way that they play, and all these great things. And I just wanted to say that, and just to kind of say that, because all your fans still hope for the best for Team Axiom, and we just hope that everyone can, I guess, improve from this point on. So the best of luck to you, John Bain, and to Genna, I hope that things improve for you.